Gutierrez, and this is Garrett Altmann, and we are representing Santa Clara, Pueblo, and presenting our naturalistic approach to watershed restoration and flood mitigation. Santa Clara, Pueblo is located in northern New Mexico, and since 1998 was affected by 3 severe wildfires that burnt over 80% of our precious forested lands. As a result of these forest fires, post-fire flooding caused Santa Clara, Pueblo to be affected and for our community residents to be threatened. This has caused over $250 million of infrastructure damage and resulted in 5 presidentially declared declarations. Through the support of FEMA's disaster recovery framework, we were able to develop a recovery support strategy that focuses on collaboration and coordination with state, federal, and local non-governmental agencies. It is through these efforts that we were able to develop a robust mitigation project utilizing a naturalistic approach.
Our project area is contained in the Santa Clara Creek watershed. This is located in the Jemez Mountains, directly north of Albuquerque, about an hour and a half. We have a 19-mile stream that encompasses over 5,000 feet of elevation gradient. It's home to the Rio Grande cutthroat trout, which is an endemic fish to the region. And the creek is also sacred to the tribe, and therefore we've taken a stream first and a natural function first, or prioritizing natural function in our restoration and mitigation efforts going forward. This includes emphasizing both bioengineering and green infrastructure principles that not only integrate natural materials that we have on site, but also work to maximize the ecosystem benefits in return. While the logic of this seemed rather straightforward and simple up front, it took several iterations with our engineers and resultantly became...
Sorry.
Okay, pause.
Crazy, sorry.
No problem. This actually ended up becoming one of our biggest challenges, was actually incorporating these principles with engineers. It seemed that the standard just does not take into this into account. So fortunately, through our collaborations and specialists we had with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, ZDEC Consulting Group, and NRCS, we've been really able to maximize the expertise from all these different agencies and integrate these principles and come up with designs such as the one here shown in Figure 3. This is a roadway embankment reinforcement, which originally was just a riprap design that they gave to us, so a straight rock, no vegetation incorporated into it, no consideration of the stream, the floodplain, the bankful channel, etc. And we've since were able to evolve it with an actual log guardrail that's up to DOT specifications. We've been able to integrate grass and vegetation in the riprap as the water table permits. We have both willow stakes and vegetation and shrubs to increase surface roughness for flood events, as well as the root wads, and you can see right here, and there's logs embedded in there, recommendations from the NRCS that will help to actually deflect the water off of this embankment. These designs have evolved into the baffles, which our cameraman here has actually constructed some of these. These can be both rock or log. In this case, we'd actually go and put rocks on top of the logs to keep them from being buoyant. And the majority of these up to this point have been used for erosion control. Our last fire was in 2011, and we've really been focusing on stabilizing the tributaries that come into the creek, because anything that goes on in the creek right now just gets inundated with sediment. But now that since 2014, we've constructed over 5,300 of these structures and have since expanded to design on the main stem of the creek. We are now completing our first 100% design plans, including bottomless culverts for the roads and protecting the infrastructure with designs that will facilitate the natural stream and also be incorporated above and below with restoration for upwards of 400 to 800 feet above and below to incorporate the stream dynamics. These are designed for not only 100-year events from an engineering standpoint, but we took it a step further and said, what can we do in a big event so we don't lose the bridge? And we've been able to put a low water a high water dip on the road, so in a larger event, the water will bypass the infrastructure, retain its resiliency, and still allow the stream to function in its core. As I said, we finished design. We're anticipating construction to begin this next month, and we're also being recognized, and these efforts are being recognized elsewhere, and we're hoping that we can introduce them to the EPA and other agencies to be used elsewhere.
With, as he stated, we're being recognized. As FEMA moves forward with green mitigation, they have been able to identify us in this practice as one of the best practices, and have identified us to help them with producing job aids and also resources that are going to be able to be distributed to states, local governments, and tribes throughout the country. We are looking at that as part of our outreach to the country. But this canyon area was our spiritual sanctuary, and Santa Clara has really invested in its protection. We're people that have remained resilient, and it's really sad to see that we're going to have a generational gap of our children who aren't going to be able to understand and know the value that we once had up in our canyon area. So a couple years ago, our tribe had took over our community school, and right now we're in the process of integrating some of these practices and utilizing our forestry departments and environmental departments to help develop curriculum that helps identify birds, plants, medicinal plants, things that they aren't able to see and for themselves. This is really important for us because this is the only way that we're going to be able to ensure that gap is minimized so that our people can survive.
We did the yes question, so we're going to go. So we've got a question.
No,